Hello everybody, my name is Teddy. I am back here with my software development one, CEN-3024 software development class, and we are still working on the CC Candy Corner application. The mission of this assignment specifically is going to be software testing. Excuse me, I got distracted for a second. So basically, since we are going to be doing some testings or J testings, we are going to make sure that we allow those tests to bypass a block that anybody else would have if they're running this code or compiling this code. Specifically, we have our inventory as set to private. That way people can't mess with it and touch it. But for the sake of the tests, we need tests to do functions on the back end. So what we did here is we put in this little getter here that allows the test, not the main code itself, because this is not in the inventory manager, but it allows during the testing only the ability to retrieve inventory or stuff from the inventory. Now we're going to go over to our manager, our test manager, excuse me. And we have some various different tests that we're going to be doing. As you can see here in IntelliJ IDA, it's got a little checkbox next to it on each of these tests. The reason being is at this moment I have pre-run these tests before even recording today, just to make sure that everything runs properly. We're going to go over some of those tests here in a second. We're just going to discuss what exactly those tests are. Bear with me here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my notes because I wrote those down. I want to address each one specifically because we do have several tests per test scenario. As you can see here, for example, test number 1, file can be opened negative. As you can see here, test number 1, file can be opened negative. These are two different. I do want to specify here, this is what happens when you have incorrect data in the form. In the form we are submitting, there are no errors in there. So this test should come back as in a clean test. Since we also have a file and it is existent, this one should also come back. However, since we have to have negatives and affirmatives, or non-affirmatives and affirmatives, for this we're also going to have the affirmative that it can actually open the file. So that's test number 1. For test number 2, we're going to do the affirmative and non-affirmative for objects being added, aka bracelets. As you can see here, the first one is it can be added affirmative. We're going to do the second test of it is going to be testing what happens if you try to put in a duplicate ID. And then the first one is going to, the third one is going to be a test as to whether or not you can add invalid quantities to the bracelets. Let's say you want to put in -5 or -3 into your quantity. Well, that's not mathematically correct. So we want to make sure that it will kick out whether or not the system can do that, because we don't want it to do that. That's a functionality we do not want. And it is a required functionality. So we want to make sure that we're running a test that verifies that. For test number 3, our affirmative is going to be the object can be removed, or it cannot be removed due to new non-existent ID, aka there's no ID in the system for that. And then the third test for test number 3 will be an empty ID input. So basically, if you go to put in the character ID or the unique ID for the bracelet and you're not aware of what it is, it's going to kick out this. It says bracelet with ID 999 not found in inventory. That's just an auto thing it's going to say if you put no entrance in there. If you put any other entrance in there, you know, it's going to give you this. Cannot be empty. For test number 4, this is going to be object can be updated. We have another test for this. Specifically for this test, it's going to verify that the inventory is correct. So let's say you have quantity of 5, right? And let's say you update the bracelet to a quantity of 0 because maybe you miscounted, or maybe you manually go in and audit and see that that number is not correct. You're like, where are all my bracelets? The minute you go in and you update the quantity to 0, the design of this particular test is that it should auto change the status from in stock to out of stock the minute your inventory hits 0. So that's what this test is going to verify. And then we have a follow-up test from it that does updated from 0 to back in stock. Let's say, obviously, it kind of speaks for itself. If it's at 0 and you change its quantity to 1, the system should auto-read that you are, in fact, putting bracelets back in stock, and it should update that. Now we have, as well here, we want to make sure it can be... These are all of our updates, if you're wondering why they're all still test 4, is they're all to do with the updating of the bracelet itself. So these will be, object can be updated, update price, we can update the status. Now we're going to get into our negatives, which would be, there's no ID here. Invalid input quantity, can't put negative quantities as I had mentioned, as well as a negative price. You can't put a negative price in there. It has to be a decimal point 2 places, and it has to be in a USD dollar currency. Therefore, it cannot be negative numbers, because, you know, then you would just be giving away your bracelets for free. And then we have invalid status input. This test specifically is there for one reason and one reason only. It's very simple. It can be either in stock or out of stock, can't be sold out, can't be not currently here, can't be check back later to see if more are in stock. It literally, status can only be in stock and out of stock. The reason why we specified this is because this is the nomenclature that the client, aka my wife, who this program is going to be used for, specified that she wants the nomenclature to be in stock, out of stock, to remove any air of confusion. Finally, we're getting down to our tests for our custom action here. We're going to want to make sure the affirmative is that it's properly showing items below threshold. And then the negative would be there are no items below threshold, aka if every bracelet says that it's above the threshold of, like, let's say 5, and you type in 5 and all their quantities are, you know, above that, it's going to say no bracelets currently below the stock threshold of 5. Or no low stock items present. This negative would be input threshold. You can't put in negative numbers. Again, they have to be proper, actual, real numbers that we use every day to day. That way we can validate whether or not those bracelets have proper quantities and it's pulling properly. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and run all these tests. We're going to go back up here to our class inventory manager test. We're going to go ahead and run it. Now it should run all of these tests. And as you can see here, based off of how I'd sorted it, all test 1s came back completed successfully. All test 2s came back completed successfully. All test 3 came back successful. 4 and 5. So all of our testing is properly done for this inventory management system. I keep saying data management system, but inventory is a type of data. But yes, as you can see here, all the tests have been successfully completed per the requirements. I created an entire separate test environment for the inventory manager without having any functionality of the inventory manager stock program being compromised or affecting any other data that it should not. As you can see here, all of these tests ran properly. Now I did look up this code here, and this code is a result of my antivirus software being done. I googled it and I searched through and through, so that's what this error is. I've get it kicked back a million times. I've run my program in administrator mode. I've made sure that my antivirus software understands that it's not valid or it's not malicious, but for some reason I do see this error. But that's what that is. It has nothing to do with whether or not any of these tests did not complete. Everything is looking good on my end. So yes, thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.